It's the two strange.
Oh, oh, oh.
I don't want to be that guy at every episode that is just like unpleased with the start. We already have the rhythmic music that like is punchy. You don't need like weird noises.
I'm sorry, mate. It's just my back. My back's really hurting.
But
at the moment.
that's legitimate concern for you right now, isn't it? You barely can actually sit straight.
Yeah. Although I know I'm not going to be on my best today because my back. Yeah, my back. Feel pity for me, but I got you a chocolate bar to make up for it.
Is that what they're for?
Yeah.
I just genuinely thought that they
I got you a chocolate bar.
Everything is a bit for you. Life is a bit. Are we continuing our ASMR journey?
Yeah. Life is a bit stressful. I mean, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about like stress and being busy, haven't we? We're banging on about it more than sex these days.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah.
So we had what I believe was a very good episode.
Yeah, you listened to it in the car
week.
with your wife, didn't you?
Banging.
Oh, it was a banging episode, was it? Yeah.
And it didn't put me asleep.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue the kind of look into kind of sleep and the states of sleep, aren't we, today?
Yeah, I'm struggling with sleep at the moment. The reason why I've got my my back done in is because the change of temperature and stuff like that. Things getting a bit colder. It always attacks me in that way. As soon as like I need to put the heating on, I'm like, nah, I won't put the heating on. I'll just get all snuggly in my covers, save some money.
Oh, snuggly.
Yeah.
What are you, like Blue's Clues?
Yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
get snuggly?
Yeah, everything's a bit to me. A bit of Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
I always fall for that and fuck myself up, and I've done it again.
And this affects your optimal sleep, because you were talking about sleep hygiene.
Yeah, sleep hygiene. It comes up, doesn't it? Like when we're looking at all of these sleep issues that people have, a lot of the time the solution is to be a good sleeper and to go to bed at the right time.
But if you've already got bad habits, just be good. That's like saying, it's the whole get good thing in the gaming community, right? It's like, just be good at the game.
Yeah, just be good at sleeping.
What?
Yeah.
Just be better at basketball.
Yeah.
Well, if life worked like that, we'd all be a little bit
absolutely
richer in our souls, wouldn't
just
we?
be taller.
Yeah.
And then you play basketball well.
Just stretch yourself out. Because that's the only component you need for basketball. You just need to be tall.
Well, that's the number one component. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think it helps.
I mean, like the short basketball players that have done well are famous because they are short and have done well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
In spite of their height disability.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we were discussing last week the process of sleep and some of the mythology. I can't even speak today because I didn't get much sleep. The mythology of sleep and this idea of renewal, death as a state, and then renewed. And you come back to this idea of the mortal cycle we talked about a lot. And we're going to kind of continue that. Who wants to jump in? Are you got some tasty little tidbits, or do you want to keep eating your chocolate and let me jump in?
So I've got a few that I want to talk about. I mean, I'd like to finish off like we started by looking at Greek mythology, and there is other elements of Greek mythology that come into sleep. I'm going to finish with that. In the meantime, though, one area that I did want to look at in a bit more detail. You mentioned last week about sleep paralysis and sleep demons and stuff. We talked about that in a lot of detail, but we didn't necessarily have that as a research subject. So I've gone back and I've just got some facts on that.
The synergy of this podcast gives me tingles.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Gives me tingle. It gives me tingle.
I'd definitely say give me play that back.
You have been coming up with the weirdest phrases, and you swear blind. You swear blind that these are things.
Piss on my chips is is a perfectly reasonable thing to say.
Yeah, you swear blind that these are just like passed down by generations and stuff like that. It was another one. I mean, like, cut your mustard's fine. It was just, what was it? I was making fun of it for a long period of time. It was something about it's like,
Don't cheese my onions.
don't cheese my onions.
Yeah.
Okay, listeners, think about that. Okay, think about the fact that there is a flavour, a celebrated flavour of crisp called cheese and onion. And there's a pasty as well called that's cheese and onion. And he's basically saying, don't cheese my onions, as if it's a bad thing that you would cheese his
Sometimes
onions.
you just want onions on their own, and onions should be comfortable to be on their own sometimes.
Mate, don't salt my vinegar, all right?
Yeah. See, I've told you this. I'd be comfortable with that as a saying as
Oi,
well.
don't sweet my sour.
Yeah. I don't see the issue.
Absolute northern nonsense. That's what that is.
This is why you don't sleep, because things like this can get to you.
They keep me up at night.
Yeah. Cold sweat. Oh, cheese and onion. That's good. Why is he so bothered by it?
My wife's sleeping peacefully, and then cheese me onions. Oh!
I know I live rent free in your head.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
You certainly do. You certainly do. That's where you live. Okay, so we were just talking about who's going to go first.
And you wanted to continue the Greek mythology angle, which I think is cool that we delved into Hypnos and his brother Thanatos, which I keep thinking is Thanos.
Yeah.
And their parent Nyx.
The knights and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not going to talk about that. I wanted to do that as a conclusion, but I'm just going to go straight into one of these now. So we're going to be looking specifically at paradoxal insomnia. So when you feel awake when you're asleep. So when you're potentially
that's crazy.
when you're potentially exhibiting good sleep hygiene, you still have this idea in your head that you're not. Yeah? Okay, so it is paradoxal insomnia. It's also called sleep state misperception. And it's a sleep disorder in which people believe they're awake most or all of the night. And they can feel that they have slept very little or not at all, even though reliably measured sleep is measured by the reliable people that measure sleep. Yeah. So, for example,
is that a new tongue twister?
I guess so. So through polysomnography or other objective means. I don't know what polysomnography is.
I got the sense you had no idea what that was. You just went, Cal, what's polysomnography? You do to me all the time.
I think it's just the way in which you measure sleep. The effective sleep. I can only assume. Yeah. Just if you have some chance, maybe pause the podcast and learn about yourselves, you lazy bastards, if you want to know.
And tell us. Shout at the screen. Go to our Twitter and tell us exactly what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
what
when we
the
don't
fuck
get a
is
response,
a Twitter?
we can. Oh, sorry, X.
Go to our X, not our ex-girlfriends. Leave them well alone.
Yeah.
Don't go to our exes, please. Good Lord, don't need
How
that
are they
shit.
finding your exes? You just got a profile somewhere that lists
people
everything
can
about you.
people can be quite snoopy on the internets, can't they? So yeah, let's not do that.
I am incognito mode in person.
Although, if it does drive social media towards our channel, just like find our exes.
Bother them, why not?
Bother them, why not?
Ask them what we were like as teenagers.
I don't give a shit. As long as I'm not doxing anyone, it's fine. No, it's poor behaviour. Don't do that. Anyway, polysomnography, some way of actual measuring sleep at an objectionable level. Yeah.
I like the idea that, because obviously sheep is synonymous with sleep, right?
Absolutely.
We kind of touched on that a little bit, but
maybe polysomnography is the idea of how many sheep did they count before they fell asleep?
Maybe we are sheep in human clothing.
Absolutely,
and that's why we think of sheep.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a disparity, is what I'm trying to say, between the subjective experience of sleep and the objective experience of sleep. And it can be deeply weird for people. Yeah, you can be a doctor/scientist and tell them you're definitely getting enough sleep, and you go, "Well, I've been awake the night."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I objectively am awake in the night. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Changing my nappies. Right. Anything else I need to do?
It's good that you can do that on your own now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is this the same sort of thing when people have like a disorder where they actually are experiencing being awake? Because you had that case, didn't you, like 20 years ago, where someone killed someone in their sleep and they had to prove that they were actually sleepwalking.
It might be the case. I did wonder this when I was looking into this. Is the idea of sleepwalking and being aware that you're sleepwalking. If you're aware that you're sleepwalking and you're sleepwalking, are you actually sleepwalking?
Sleep, yeah.
But if you're getting a good night's sleep while you're doing it, I guess it's part of that
And
paradoxal
that's it,
insomnia.
isn't it? Like, your brain is kind of, working on repairing itself. If you are following through on executive function, like walking, are you actually repairing? So those that are sleepwalking,
Yeah.
are they even getting restful sleep in their
They're having. I mean, it has to be this polysomnography has to measure like repairing sleep. Otherwise, it's not a good night's sleep, is it?
Well, there must be a tangible way, right? Because you can get apps and things that measure your. I don't know if they're like scientifically sound or not.
I don't think the one that has Pokemon like to pop up.
Pokemon Sleep. That looks like a killer app. To be
I
fair,
don't think it's scientifically proven though.
But I watched a YouTube video on this, and this guy was getting like crazy good sleep, and he was catching Bulbasaurs.
Oh yeah, in
And
his
then
sleep.
he had a bad sleep. Guy got a Charmander. It doesn't feel like it's well tuned.
I don't think polysomnography is about like measuring how many Snorlax you get in a night's rest. But never mind.
But you can track apps, right? You can track your sleep.
Yeah.
You can track your REM. I don't know how, but that must come from the idea of tracking restful sleep.
Yeah, like heart rate and other such things like that. It's easily trackable with these things, isn't it? But yeah, so there's a deep, weird chasm between like, the sense of consciousness and also like self-reporting on, your sleep and etc. So people with this disorder report an extreme frustration and they feel like sleep is failing them. But in reality, the brain microwaves through stages of sleep, including deep or REM sleep, can be presented. Yeah, there are objective sleep metrics that show a reasonable amount of sleep has occurred. Yeah. But, the psychological impact can be large. There can be anxiety about sleep, and a fear of not sleeping can increase your arousal, making it actually harder to sleep because you're so aroused.
Aroused in the sense of like your brain is kind of firing off, and not aroused in the sense that
you've not got a big horn on. No,
okay.
no.
It's good to make that distinction early.
Yeah, that's it. But if in a state of extreme arousal, it would be in either way. It would be difficult to get to sleep, I'd assume. Yeah. But anyway, so a vicious cycle will form. You're overly aroused because you're fearing not going to sleep, and then you're making it harder for yourself to sleep. Yeah, and there's an overlap between depression, stress, hyperarousal, a misperception of time, and heightened sensory awareness. Yeah. It also raises some philosophical issues, yeah? What counts as being asleep? If you're conscious while you're sleeping, are you actually asleep, as we mentioned, yeah? Is an awareness of the self necessary? So, yeah, if someone is unaware but reports they were awake, what does that say about the conscious experience during sleep? Yeah. Now, you can get treatments for this. So cognitive behavioural therapy, which I'm always been recommended as soon as I feel a bit down in the dumps, etc.
Go to CBT. Do not pass go. Do not.
Yeah, that's it. Do the CBT. Like, hi, can I speak to someone? Have you tried speaking to yourself? We can offer that. But yeah, but also, sleep hygiene, just, that treatment, get taller and then you're good at basketball.
Yeah. Get yourself on one of those stretching racks.
Racks. Reducing anxiety as well. And mindfulness type exercises and stuff like that. Tell you what, mindfulness and all of those mindful colouring books, they really pissed me off when adults started doing those. And
why?
Because it's a fucking colouring book, okay? Do you know what I mean? But my daughter loves colouring, and I fucking love colouring with her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's quite mindful.
But it's fine when you're doing it with a kid, right?
Because, that's the excuse.
You're bonding. After that, you dickhead, mate.
Absolutely. Yeah, but like it's good. It's like it's meditative Yeah, and you
Well,
know,
it's
you
a
get a nice
singular
picture at the end
task,
of it.
isn't it? And then you can see the results. I can see the psychological benefit of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That actually bridges really nicely. Not even like trying to segue, but it bridges really nicely to what I want to talk about.
Okay, that's fantastic. What, the mindfulness bit?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I've got some more things I could kind of talk about with that, but I am going to just let you use your segue.
Shut up and be mindful.
Yeah, I feel like you've cheesed my onions, but we'll go ahead.
And you've salted my vinegar. Because this idea of like mindfulness and a state of mindfulness, we attribute in the modern day to the practice of yoga.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Hindu tradition, the ancient yogic tradition of yoga nidra.
Okay.
And again, as always, here is my PSA of like, don't come for me for these like pronunciations. I can't even pronounce English stuff. Okay?
He can't even pronounce correctly because he's going pronounce. What's he doing?
Yeah, I do what I want when I want.
Absolutely,
right?
we
So,
understand. It's fine, mate.
Back the fuck off.
Back the fuck off, everyone. Let's go.
So, yoga nidra, which translates loosely in English to yogic sleep.
Yogic sleep.
Is a practice derived from ancient yogic and Hindu tradition, meaning a state between waking and sleeping. So it's this idea again that we keep circling back to: are you awake and transitioning to sleeping? So that you know, that all that disorder that you were talking about of like there are two separate states and there's a disorder that blurs that line. And you know, we talked about it also last week about being a state between being alive and not alive.
Yeah.
Unalive, as the kids say.
As they say on the YouTubes now,
yeah.
to avoid censorship.
Yeah. But with this state, with the waking and sleeping state, and why I said it's a good segue is the awareness is maintained.
Okay.
So the awareness of being asleep, you are aware you are asleep, but also you have waking consciousness.
Okay.
So we're kind of moving from the disorder to an actual practice of trying to achieve this state, which I think is interesting, right? What we see as a disorder one time in the ancient tradition is actually a state to be achieved.
It would probably be pretty nice, wouldn't it? Like, we worry about how much time we end up losing in our lives and stuff like that. And, a considerable amount of time is taken by sleeping. If you could, I don't know, just get some stuff done in your mind.
So I think that's the ideal version of this, right? But where cosmic sleep, yoga nidra really comes in is this idea of reducing stress. Improving sleep quality through being aware that you are sleeping and that your body needs rest, and the psychological integration of your waking state and your sleeping state.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. You're essentially see them as two separate beings that have the same purpose, and you're merging those two beings together,
right?
To achieve some, like most of these Hindu traditions, and going a little bit more East Asian, like Buddhist religion, Buddhist tradition as well. It's all about achieving this state of mind, about being clear and concise about what you want, and in some places that's the idea of enlightenment, right? Being one with oneself, with all the different facets that you are in life, being at one. And this is merging the two primary states of being, the waking state and the sleeping state, and trying to get them to merge. In Hindu myth, this idea is actually scaled up cosmically.
Okay.
So Vishnu's yoga nidra is the divine cosmic sleep in which the universe dissolves at the end of the cycle. I would love to tell you what that's called, but give me an M, give me an A, give me an H, APRALAY.
What the fuck are you doing?
Mahaprayala.
Okay, good. That's fine.
Yeah?
Mahaprayala.
Mahabayala.
Mahabayala.
I don't know where the bees come from, but
It's fine.
and it rests in stillness on the serpent and Anata Sesha, which is really cool when you talk about these things, isn't it? You say like a normal statement, and then you're like, oh yeah, and it's on a giant like cosmic snake.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, yeah.
And
fair
that's
enough.
when they close the door.
Yeah.
Have you heard the good news? The good news about the giant snake? Well, no, wait, it's good.
And after the divine cosmic sleep, and you know, at the end of the cycle, it's rested on this serpent. Creation then emerges anew when he wakes.
Okay.
So it's this idea of a cycle, and we're going back to that Greek myth again of the cycle. Of the mortal cycle, being into the mortal cycle. So you're in the mortal cycle during waking. It's frozen. You sleep, and you're back onto the mortal cycle. So it's that same sort of idea from a divine cosmic point of view. Also, Yoga Nidra is not unconscious sleep, but latent awareness. While Vishnu sleeps, in some conceptions he remains alert, aware, even if unmanifested, even if not present and manifested in his full self, he still is aware during that. And we see examples of this in popular mediums of people in a meditative state.
Yeah.
It particularly is used during. I don't know if you're into manhwa. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, tell me.
So manhwa is basically the Korean version of manga.
Okay.
Very similar kind of conceptual things. They have a lot of isekais, for example. A lot of people going back in time. But they use like traditional sort of like Korean and Chinese influence. So, for example, there's lots of cultivators. There's people that take their chi and they become more powerful and they go up like. So it uses a lot of that folklore as the basis for their stories. And almost in every kind of like manhwa isekai where a powerful being has gone back in time and they're cultivating their spirit. Quite often there is an idea of a divine sleep where they will be cultivating their spirit for like a year in a cave somewhere.
Yeah.
But they're aware of kind of what's happening outside of that. You see it a lot again in sort of Asian stories, whether it's manhwas or TV shows. The ancient master will lock himself away in meditative training.
Yeah, I think
out
that's like a
stronger.
recognizable trope, despite it being signposted a little bit differently in like sort of Korean manga, I guess. Yeah.
So like most things, right? It represents different cultures, but it kind of bleeds into all cultures. Things from Western culture are bleeding into Eastern culture. Eastern culture is certainly bleeding into Western culture. As we become a more global global society, these things are kind of bleeding through quite quickly.
I've always been quite interested in the idea of yoga. Wishing just I had a bit more time to actually sort of like go into it. Like I am always just a little bit put off with the amount of like gatekeeping there is to it. Like you often will have to meet with like an instructor who's then going to provide you with this information and stuff like that. It's not like,
and usually you're buying a course, right? And I just think that's a weird.
Yeah. So I was particularly interested in because I'm I would say a reasonably large David Lynch fan. Not big, but reasonably large, and was definitely inspired by his way of like picking ideas out and stuff like that for his films and stuff like that. He is a practitioner, or was, God rest his soul, or Vishnu rest his soul, whoever he wants. So he was a proponent of transcendental yoga. And would place his name towards that, but that again, to actually be taught the process of transcendental yoga, where you're trying to, where he's using it, I guess, to come up with ideas for his films and stuff like that, through that meditative state. That's something that you have to pay heavily for as a course, and he would have had like yogi instructors and things like that he's then recommending, etc. to like the public and stuff, and it just annoys me. Like, can't I just have it for free? Like, it just feels like a scam. As soon as someone wants to will charge me for a religious experience.
It's funny that you kind of frame it as like, you know, well, you yourself wanted to get into yoga, because yoga and nidra as the idea of this conscious sleep is starting to come back around.
Yeah.
In wellness and psychology, it's being revived and studied for its measurable benefits in lowering cholesterol.
Okay.
Is a key one. Promoting parasympathetic activation. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Again, go on X, find out for us. Treating insomnia, and now I know what that means.
What is parasympathetic activation? Well, carry on.
Yeah. So some of the things I do know what it is. It helps treat insomnia, helps treat trauma in some certain cases, unresolved issues, anxiety. To be able to kind of promote this, you were talking about this idea of kind of getting into a state. The practice involves guided body scans, so somebody kind of, you know, walking through the visualization of your stress, visualizations in general. So lying down, guided, not just lying down, but lying down in a guided relaxation. Yeah, just lie down and you'll be less stressed.
That's step one.
Yeah. Just lay there. You'll feel better eventually.
Lying down, closing your eyes.
Lying down in the guided relaxation, being aware of your breath and getting into a state of kind of like patterned breathing. And sometimes affirmations as this is happening. Whenever I think of this, I just think of someone going, right, in, out, you're doing such a good job. I'm sure that's not what it is. But like...
No, it probably is to a certain extent. Probably is.
Like, do you need to be a licensed practitioner to be able to do that? I just feel that...
Yeah.
Anyway, wherever there is a benefit, there is a greed, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
let's end on that horrible... Well, not end, but let's put yoga to bed.
Before we do...
And you can tell me about...
Well, I'm going to tell you about parasympathetic activation, first of all, or at least Google Gemini is. So it's often called rest and digest, and it's the body's response that promotes relaxation, conserves energy, and regulates the functions like digestion, heart rate, and breathing. So it's basically the opposite of fight or flight response. It's your relax and chill response.
Yeah, which is what I would have said if you'd give me a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah, totally, mate. Yeah. Don't cheese my onions.
So what I'm thinking from that is it's basically it's the opposite of fight or flight. So that's yoga, and I think it's interesting to mention at that point because quite often when we look at mythos, it always has a real world practice. And sleep is very much integrated with that. We talked about a couple of months ago now this idea of yokai and spirits to personify cultural experiences.
And we will go back to them.
And it all kind of fits in, right? All of the stories that we tell and all of the myths that we have. They're all just trying to quantify the human experience.
Yeah, totally. And as we said last week, like that idea of dreaming, preparing for death and the similarities with sleep and, a lot of the interpretations of dream states and stuff like that, like an awful lot of our like early sort of like proto like mythos and stuff like that that's then kept with us and is adapted and things into other things and stuff like that, like even just like the idea of an angel, like seeing an angel or something like that, it's going to be connected to like dreamlike hallucinations and other such things. It's all kind of connected to that natural human experience that has always stayed with us. Like the pinnacle of our culture is literally like us breathing, sleeping, farting, shagging. Do you know what I mean? Like, the earliest joke recorded, I think, was like in Egyptian imagery or Babylonian or Sumerian imagery, and it was literally just like a fart joke. Do you know what I mean? So like,
course it was.
do you know what I mean? Like, there's something that we'll always relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
It's observable. There's always going to be two dickheads on a podcast trying to be funny about
Absolutely.
something that can be observed.
Yeah.
I'm not projecting.
Yeah. We're like the equivalent of like the Sermon on the Mount, you know. So,
I see us
you imagine two Jesuses there, like talking about strange things.
I see us as like a more modern take on the Ricky Gervais show.
Oh yeah.
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 But we're both Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, we're both Carl Pilkington. We got rid of the two that were just abusing him. We just like teamed up. Yeah. If I could have anyone on this show,
I think we talked about this, haven't we?
Fucking Carl Pilkington every day, mate. Yeah, that would be great.
Hand him this, he can ignore it. Talk about himself.
He would have a lot of strange stories to tell us anyway. So yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm just going to go into the idea of sleep paralysis. Now, Tom gave us his own first-hand account of his experiences and things like that.
Named her now. I felt like it needed a name.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, what was the name of your...
Patricia. Yeah.
Patricia, the night hag.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting looking at this research after Tom had provided his eyewitness account. So he hadn't actually talked to or looked over this research beforehand. And it's really interesting how you've got these similarities.
Is this going to scare me for life? Am I going to be like, oh my God, like it actually means that I've got like a tumour or something?
I'm basically just going to be confirming, like through, looking at what's on Wikipedia and other such websites like PubMed and other such things like that. The things that you're pretty much saying. It's like a time to corroborate.
Yeah,
really.
So validate my experience.
Validate your experience, absolutely. So yeah, sleep paralysis is a psychological phenomenon where someone waking or falling asleep briefly cannot move, speak or react. And it often accompanies vivid hallucinations, so seeing figures, sensing a presence, and also specifically being pressed down, which is something you mentioned. Yeah, and cultures around the world have developed a mythic or supernatural explanation for it. So night hags, demons and spirits and things like that. Yeah. So in English and European folklore, we have the night hag. Yeah. A supernatural being that sits on the chests of sleepers, causing breathing difficulty, terrifying dreams. And the word mare in nightmare is derived from this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So look online for nightmare or the night hag, etc., and you'll be able to see pictures, etchings and things like that of these people squatting on people's chests, essentially. And in Philippine folklore, the batibat or bangungot is a tree spirit or demon who suffocates sleepers who rest near its former tree.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. It invades dreams and is often associated with fatal nightmares. Now, I feel like we could potentially, if we were to go into this a bit more, we could etch out a whole episode on sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Shall we do that after our sleep episode?
Yeah, I think that could be a fun dive.
Fun dive, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully they won't permeate our dreams.
I genuinely was worried about that after I shared. I was like, is that going to be in my conscience? Am I going to go to bed? And as I was, my wife listened to this in the car as we were on a trip, and the first thing she said is, I'm going to have some crazy nightmares. But nothing. So I don't I don't think it's going to trigger anything.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. That's good. In East Asian cultures, so for example in Japan, there is the kanashibari. And there are other terms for this in China, Korea, Mongolia, where sleep paralysis is considered to be a ghost or spirit or spiritual oppression. So we've got at least three there that we can look at in a bit more detail. The nightmare, the batibat, and the kanashibari as well. So essentially what's happening is we're blending a medically explainable psychological phenomenon with deeply emotional and fearful supernatural interpretations. Yeah, and it's essentially it's neurobiology being interpreted into mythos. Yeah, so exactly what we were just talking about, that idea of like all being relatable to like sleep and poop and all of that sort of stuff. You've got what's the word? You've got myth, haven't you? At the end of the day, yeah. So sleep paralysis can become culturally meaningful. Yeah. So timing, gender, religious belief can all affect whether people see it as demonic, witchcraft, a spiritual test, etc. We talked about that idea previously of different cultures, and we mention it quite a lot because it's one of those really interesting points that comes out.
Because everything intersects, right? Like that's the really interesting thing
Yeah.
about it. Everything has a like a point of connection. Talk about this idea of was it 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Everything is only 6 degrees away. A fly in the desert of Arabia is somehow connected to me.
Somehow connected to Kevin Bacon. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Am I Kevin Bacon?
You might be Kevin Bacon. What is so think about it this way, okay? So we actually work with someone who is an actor.
Who is Kevin Bacon?
So no, but we definitely have 6 degrees of separation at least from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily.
Probably
Easily.
maybe even 3.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, it can kind of work out. And so, you mentioned that fly, yeah? And then, like, then he's connected to Kevin Bacon as well.
I do, and I do. Where is Arabia?
It's not in this room.
No, because I'm trying to make the connection, right? Because I know people from Egypt.
Yeah. Okay.
I've taught people from Egypt when I taught abroad.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm tracking
that little fly. Yeah.
So I think I could get there in 6 degrees.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think I could get there in 4.
What the fuck was I talking about? This is such a weird deviation to go to. Oh yeah, that was it. We were talking. I was just reminding you of that idea of from a cultural aspect, the way in which people change their view of like a voice in their head. For some people that's demonic and it's telling you to kill yourself and kill others, and for other people it's like it's just God saying you're doing great.
It's a God-fearing entity, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like your family members who are deceased, like keep going, lad.
Yeah. And so, like, the way in which we interpret something like a bad dream or something like that can be something that maybe builds us up as opposed to, like, puts us down and stuff like that. Essentially, it is often it's very intense and it's often something that's remembered vividly. Yeah. So compared to your other nightmares, this stands out as if it is like an external presence and it's something you need to remember. It can also be valuable to psychologists as well, anthropologists and neuroscientists as a lens on consciousness, the fear and dream-like states and things like that. Yeah. There is a significant number of people that experience sleep paralysis at least once. Yeah. And there is a physiological basis to this. It occurs during the transition in or out of REM sleep. Yeah. So just as you're drifting off or just as you're coming back. So like when the paralysis of major muscle groups remains while consciousness returns, you get that weird feeling. Yeah, you're left with a mixed state of awareness and hallucination during that point in time. What's interesting is the idea of those hallucinations being consistent, the presence of a being, pressure on the chest, and for that same person to stay with you, as you mentioned, that Patricia character for you, etc. Yeah. And yeah, there's cultural remedial practices as well. So protective rituals, changing your sleeping positions, charms and prayers. In the Philippines, for example, people avoid sleeping near trees, which once housed a batibat. And in Japan, admonitions or spiritual rituals occur. Yeah.
So building off on that, I want to talk about nightmares.
Nightmares. Fantastic.
And the idea of emotional processing.
Okay.
So... if you don't know, nightmares are like really intense dreams, right? And they invoke pretty strong negative emotions. This idea of like abject fear, sadness, anxiety, all of the kind of negative emotions that you might be carrying around and not processed.
Yeah.
Frequently, they will actually cause you to be awake. You ever had a nightmare so vivid you've woke up in sweat?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We all kind of have been there at some point, and you remember usually the most harrowing detail, right? You don't. Sometimes you can't remember how something got there, but you remember the most harrowing detail. And like for me, sometimes I have nightmares where I wake from a nightmare and I'm still asleep, but I don't think I'm asleep, and then something horrific happens, and then I wake up, and then I'm worried about, am I still like asleep?
See, that's like a cliche in like films and TV and stuff like that. Again, it's not something that's actually happened to me.
It's awful.
Have you got an example? Can you remember an example?
So usually, like, it feels quite jump scary, to be honest. Like, I'll have a dream, and then I'll wake up and be like, oh, it's okay, I'm now awake. But I just have this unease that I'm not awake.
Yeah.
And then something will happen. So it might be like, I pull on the covers and there's something there.
Oh God,
right?
I think I've had that happen to me once before. In fact,
and then I'll wake up again and I'll be awake, but the whole time I'm thinking and I'll pinch myself, like I'll physically pinch myself, and I'll know I'm still. So there's times where I know I'm asleep because I'm pinching myself and it doesn't hurt. And I can't get out of it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be here forever.
Yeah. So it's perhaps a little bit different. I'll share something with you. Like I just want to say I am totally fine, and I don't need to see a therapist. Okay, but just so like there have been times that I've recognised that I am asleep and in a dream. So being aware of it, but the point in time where I come up to the conclusion that I am aware that I'm in a dream, immediately whoever it is I'm talking to, their face will just contort into some sort of weird fucking demon, and they'll attack me like just instantly. Just instantly, it's like he knows. Blah, blah, blah.
Fucking hell.
Sorry,
I
am mental.
These nightmares, nightmares in general, the more intense they are, they most often occur in REM sleep.
Right.
Do you know what REM stands for?
They're an amazing band that let us know that everybody hurts, which is good to know.
They did.
And rapid eye movement.
It's It's the rapid eye movement of sleep. If you were to open someone in REM, their eyes are going left, right, really fast.
Everybody burps.
It is nice. It is towards the latter part of the night's sleep, so it's not that kind of start of the cycle. It's when you're kind of firmly into your sleep cycle.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that nightmares are like quite distressing, like let's be honest, you can be like, oh, it's just a nightmare, bro. But actually, if you have them regularly, they can be a really, really
and also they stay with you. Like a lot of the time, it's something that's like attached to like your life. It's your subconscious like trying to tell you a little story or something like that.
Yeah, well, they state that nightmares are thought to sever functions. So when you're processing trauma, processing any negative effects, and kind of trying to compartmentalize that. And weirdly, I've got here on my notes a rehearsal for threat responses. So how would your body react?
Yeah.
So your brain's going, hey, if you actually saw a vampire in real life, what would you do?
Yeah.
You'd run.
That's cool. I mean, like that's great though, isn't it? Like that's what I would hope that you would do with that. That sort of aware sleep that you were talking about in yoga. Is that just that idea of like being able to?
Your brain's running a training simulator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the problem happens when these are frequent, right? Because they degrade sleep quality, obviously. They increase anxiety around sleep or just in general. And they can impair your daytime function, so you're not fully repairing yourself. from a scientific angle, if we were to have a look at like what's going on under the hood, a study compared nightmare sufferers with control subjects who reportedly don't suffer from them or suffer from them very little. The nightmare group had reduced sleep efficiency. They woke up in the middle of REM sleep a lot more. They were more wakeful in general. And they had a less slow wave deep sleep, so they didn't quite hit that nice deep sleep into REM. It was a slower kind of dive down, and sometimes they didn't even hit it.
Yeah. I can assume that like you're having these nightmares and stuff like that because your sleep is poor anyway.
Well, this is it. It's a catch-22, and that's kind of what it found. The nightmares both affected the sleep structure and the architecture of the sleep itself.
Yeah.
But this is nothing new, right? As we've kind of been talking about, nightmares are observable by people. People talk, people share them.
Yeah.
So myth and religion interpret nightmares many different ways. Sleep paralysis just being one, right? And this idea of demons in the bed, this idea of like people's faces melting and they're showing their true demonic form. It's all, you can all link that to this idea of religion and mythos, and you've shared your kind of past with religion and stuff. That probably has an influence. In your dreams, it was a big part of your life. You're in your formative years, so it probably does have quite a strong element of that.
Absolutely.
So nightmares have been interpreted as demonic visitation. Mm-hmm. Spiritual attacks, past sins coming to haunt you, curses. Sometimes if you're having a lot of nightmares, someone's placed a curse on you. Many cultures have myths about creatures that cause nightmares: night hags, incubuses, psychological demons, where their main kind of proponent of attack is in the mind, as opposed to, I mean, could you argue a succubus is a form of that too, because they are influencing your waking thoughts into a lustful state. So like fear, guilt, unresolved conflict manifest in the dream form, and the unconscious mind wrestles with those inner conflicts, and almost all mythos and religion has some sort of entity that guides that. What's interesting, from a scientific point of view, if we kind of walk that back a second, is that there is a overlap with mental health disorders. So things like dissociation,
schizophrenia.
Schizotypy. So the type of schism, the type of schizophrenia. Unusual sleep experiences like vivid dreams and complex behaviours in dreams correlate with daytime symptoms of dissociation and the unusual beliefs of schizophrenia. And it suggests that for some people who are suffering, the boundary between the waking consciousness and the dreaming perception is more fluid.
Okay.
So this idea, like, schizophrenics may see hallucinations that are dreamlike in nature. Their brain is more fluid. Their day cycle and then night cycle is a little bit more fluid. And I could be wrong, but I think antipsychotics are designed to try and bridge that gap and try and keep your day cycle and your kind of sleep night cycle as separate entities. Which is funny, isn't it? Because the yoga was all about bringing it together. But actually, we find that when the lines blur, there are problems. There from a psychological perspective. So interesting, I think.
Okay, and in conclusion, I'm just going to be just talking about the. Now this. Okay, so I never make a stop with what I'm talking about to talk about the pronunciation. I just go in, but this one's really difficult. Okay, so this is just a what's the word? A class of beings in Greek mythology, and I cannot get my head around because there's so many vowels in this. There's literally just 2 consonants in the whole thing. One Iroi. Yeah?
One Iroi.
If we're just going by ONE as one, otherwise it's going to be Oneiroi. Oneiroi or one Iroi. We're just going to go with one Iroi. Yeah? A singular version of the one Iroi would be a one Eros. Yeah? So a certain being within Greek mythology is called a one Eros. Yeah? So they are essentially dream spirits, yeah? So they emerge from Nyx, the god of night's domain in the dark realm, beyond the sunrise, and deliver dreams to mortals, yeah? Little dream carriers, yeah? Among them, Morpheus is especially prominent. So the figure who shapes humans' forms in dreams, appearing as mortals do, giving messages or disguising truths, yeah? Another includes Phoebetor, or Isolos, who takes beast or frightening forms, and Phantasos, who manifests as inanimate objects. So for every type of dream you're having, that's that Oniroi, or it's that Oniroi, yeah? So you've got these like little
changeling things.
They're like, I guess I can imagine that they're like, you know, Nyx is like that big floating head in the Power Rangers, and then they're all separate, like, you know, Morpheus.
Go Dream Rangers.
It's Morpheus time. Yeah. Or something like that. So yeah, there's a whole team of them, and they've got a certain type of dream. Like, you know, I wonder what the wet dream one's called, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, and whether or not he gets invited to the social.
I like how that's a man for you. I definitely was picturing a woman, but maybe that's just the difference of our own.
Spaffalot.
Yeah.
Spaffalot.
Sir Spaffalot.
Sir Spaffalot. So you've got Morpheus, Phoebetor, Sir Spaffalot. Oh, get away from me.
I wonder which one.
You stay over there, Sir Spaffalot.
I wonder which one Carl made up. Ooh, what a conjury.
So yeah, he doesn't get invited to the rest of their social gatherings. I think
he's just wet all the time.
He's a bit pervy. Yes, he's just got a strong smell to him.
Oh.
Anyway, so you know, the key thematic innovation is the idea of 2 gates through which dreams pass. So one made of horn and the other of ivory. The horn gate produces true, meaningful, prophetic dreams, and the ivory gate sends false, deceptive, and trivial dreams. So there is a dualism in dreams, and that reflects both the hope of divine communication and the fear of delusion or self-deception. Yeah, and Morpheus often is associated with the prophetic, meaningful dreams. Yeah, he's the good one. Yeah, he's the white Power Ranger, let's say. So what's strange about this is that the dreams are thus not only private psychological experiences, but part of this mythic ontology. So some are truths, others are illusions. They're all delivered by these beings, and humans must learn to discriminate. Yeah, and dreaming becomes a mode of divine speech or prophecy or moral test. Yeah, so it suggests that the sleeping mind is a boundary space, a threshold between waking and divine, wakeful self and unconscious. Yeah, so a lot of the time we have this situation where, oh, that's your subconscious trying to tell you something, and like, you know, this is what this could mean and stuff like that. And we poo-poo that a lot of the time, potentially, or at least, you know, at least some people's interpretation. I know I can just Google, oh, what does this dream mean? And I just get something that very much seems like a horoscope sort of explanation.
Like all of those books that you can buy, like Explain Your Dream, and they're all just like random.
But I think to a certain extent, if we're looking at, like, you know, Freud and Jung and a lot of these sort of stuff that, like, even to this day, like psychoanalysis and stuff like that kind of like depends on as theories and stuff like that, it still comes across as a bit hokey to me. It's this idea of like, it's all very subjective.
And it's also like, a lot of them are flowcharts, right? It's like, in your dream, did you see an interpretation of someone you love? Yes. You want to fuck your mother? No. Was it your mother? No. Are you sure it wasn't your mother? No. You want to fuck your mother?
That's it.
All roads lead back.
Yeah. Were you driving a car or riding a bicycle? Both ones. You want to fuck your mother.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, the let's talk about the actual beings themselves. So the Waniroi, or the Oni-Iroi, I don't know how you say it, as I said, they dwell in caves in Erebus, the darkness beyond the daylight, Nyx's domain, and they emerge nightly. And as I said, Morpheus is the leader. So he's the one that says it's morphing time when they have to go Power Rangers. The theme tune to Power Rangers is the thing that will always stay with me.
I thought you were going to say the theme tune to Power Rangers was actually arranged based on this.
Yeah. So he's often depicted as the leader in many of the stories, particularly with respect to the messages from the gods to humans, especially kings. Yeah. And there is a distinction of the dream types. There's the prophetic, as I've mentioned, and there's the false or deceptive ones. And this model parallels the modern ideas of lucid dreaming versus fantasy, but it adds the extra religious weight to it. Yeah. So, this dream imagery can shape myths and warnings. So, for example, with the Book of Troy, etc., or the Iliad, as it would be called, like the dream of Agamemnon, and then others in Greek literature can be attributed to the Oniroi, Morpheus, and other such things like that. And with that, I think I'm going to go to sleep. How about you?
Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a nap. I'm going to eat my chocolate bar.
We can put all the chairs together here and we can just snuggle for a bit. What do you think?
Or we could just, go about a day separately and not speak to each other until next week.
As we normally do.
Yeah.
This time next week, I'll pretend that I don't know you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good.
When we leave, it's like when people are having like a secret affair and they leave the doors at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're just all shifty. That's us when we leave the pocket. We didn't do anything.
That's it. I just button my flies back up and all of that sort of stuff as I leave. Yeah.
Well, that's been a good one, hasn't it, folks?
I think so. So. 2 on the trot. 34 episodes in the bag.
We are officially more episodes than I have years tacked on my calendar.
If we do 100 episodes, we're over a third of the way there now. Can you imagine? That's mental.
That's crazy.
That's fucking crazy.
Well, 50 to me is insane.
Yeah.
And we're getting close.
I'm getting close. I'm getting close to the actual age 50, which
Chugging
is
away.
Crazy as well.
Yeah, I'm going to point it out when we're near your age. I'm going to point it out.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Just so everyone knows that you're the old one.
Well, it's only a couple of episodes to go. But anyway, that's all good. All right. That's been another episode of Two Strange Men. Have restful sleep. Be aware of your sleep architecture and promote good sleep hygiene.
Oh, am I?
Thanks for listening. Here's a disclaimer. We are not experts. We can easily get things wrong in an episode. Our intention is to explore and open up the possibilities for further exploration. Come find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. We would love some interaction. Also, if you can consider supporting us on Patreon, that would help a bunch. Search for 2, that's number 2, Strange Men Pod, all one word. Until next time, keep it strange.